His name is Friendimus Tactalo, and that is all the information you got. He's a gnome.
He sounds extremely trustworthy.
He's a gnome who lives out and works in the hedge maze somewhere, and he's supposed to be making her a pair of delightful slippers. And they were supposed to be delivered for her birthday, and they weren't. Her birthday was 5 years ago, or not 5 years, 5 days ago.
5 years ago.
I mean, it's the Feywild. Days, years, it's all the same to you.
Who knows?
And you know it was 5 days ago because you all, rude as you are, showed up late to her party.
We were just early for next year's party.
You mean next day's party.
Damn it. That's a good response. That might have gotten us out of it.
The sky here is bathed in perpetual twilight. The path leads down from the palace, and as far as you can tell, this hedge mage stretches out before you. Right now you're standing at the top of the palace stairs, kind of looking, overseeing it. It looks like it stretches all the way out to the horizon in every direction. And as you descend the stairs into the maze, you become kind of submerged in it. It becomes a little more claustrophobic. And when you get to the base of the stairs, it's just this long green hallway with this dusty path. The walls of the maze stretch far and away above you. Much, much higher than any of you are tall. You would think it would take a good solid several minutes to climb to the top of one, and you probably arrive at the top exhausted. The dusty path you stand on is about 30 feet wide, and seems more or less uneventful. You see several openings in the maze on either side.
Brick, what does this represent for, like, what we saw while standing on the stairs? Like, first of all, where are we exiting from?
Let me answer your question with a question.
Yeah.
If you were DMing, how would you try to arbitrate a maze like this?
Oh, this would all be fake.
Right.
If I was DMing, this entire map would be fake.
Exactly. So, actually mapping the place out isn't happening because I love you guys. I love D&D. I love running the game. I don't want to drive myself absolutely crazy. I would like to still have my wits about me when I stand up tonight. So, this is just the picture out of the module, but we're not actually going to be tracking your position or direction at all on this map.
Okay.
If you guys get into combat, you know, if in case you guys need to get your violent murder hobo on,
we would never.
We're probably just going to keep it abstract because everywhere in this maze is just going to be this 30-foot wide hallway, essentially, anyway. So, you guys have a quest. This is a task given to you by Princess Dandelion. And what's next for you?
What's the name of the cobbler again?
Friendimus.
Friendimus Tactalo.
I will say, every time the name Friendimus throws around, I just picture a little tiny transformer.
Is he on our...
No, that seems right.
Friendimus Prime.
Friendimus Tactalo.
And one of you hates gnomes, right?
Yes.
No.
It's Birdie that hates gnomes.
Yes.
Okay.
So Birdie hates gnomes, but how does he feel about the name Friendimus? Because I feel like that's pretty... Like, there's two aspects to this.
He could give or take it. It's fine. It's like 7 out of 10. Solid 7 out of 10.
Solid 7 out of 10. Man. Alright.
So what is your strategy? How are you going to approach this task given to you?
It's essentially a hedge maze that is before us.
Yeah, standing at the base of the stairs, you've got this long, just dusty hallway on either side with green hedges. You see some openings. Some of them are just blank spots in the hedge wall to your right or left that just disappear off through the hedge. Some of them have more glamorous looking archways. Some of them look to have been landscaped or decorated.
Maybe the Major Domo knows.
I say we go
Wait
in
a minute.
ascending order of glamorousness.
So
Because
I have a question.
Yeah.
Does just to this map right here before we start? Does that look like a woman to anybody else?
Are you seeing the Virgin Mary in the... Oh, God, I am seeing the Virgin Mary in this hedge maze map.
Oh my god, yes.
I wonder if that's
Why?
intentional.
Oh, my God. I'm starting to get a headache like one of those Magic Eye posters. This hedge maze that was a bad idea. So Birdie, or not Birdie, Wendy had an idea on how to approach this.
I say we just go for the most glamorous arch each time.
What does Wendy consider glamorous?
I think white is pretty glamorous. So like, just like a nice stark aesthetic hedge maze.
And what are a lot of you actually doing? Just marching forward until you see a door that Wendy says is glamorous?
I'm willing to take other people's viewpoints on glamorousness. Listen, there's enough room for everyone in this party to be glamorous.
Yeah.
I mean, Birdie thinks shiny is glamorous, so the shiniest doorway is his vote.
Wouldn't that just get us to the most glamorous place? I mean, the maze obviously goes to more than one location.
Honestly, we're probably likely to get eaten either way we go. So
Are you having this discussion at the base of the stairs, or are you talking? Are you doing like a walk and talk?
I think it's like a walk and
walk
talk.
and talk.
Okay.
Yeah.
'Cause this is like a fey maze, a phase, if
Yeah.
you will. So chances are pretty good it both goes to multiple locations and also the same location.
And
Through
using
different
any sort of
routes.
direction or tracker or anything like that. Probably means there's probably just an effort in futility. So, yeah, no, let's start fabulous and work
And
our
just
way
only get more fabulous.
work our way forward. Yep. Sure. Faye is
Raazu-
great.
Raazu is very much out of her element here.
Just enjoy it, Raazu. It's all you can do is just really enjoy it.
You guys march forward.
Yeah.
For about 15 or 20 minutes before you come to an archway in the hedge maze that Wendy points out as being fabulous. There is the arch is made out of the actual hedge, and it has been laced and woven with all different colors of flowers. And it's very fragrant. There's a very pleasant odor lingering in the air here. There's a heavy oak door set into the archway, which goes further into the hedge. And above the door is printed in the Sylvan alphabet. And for those of you who can read it, it translates to Flower House.
That sounds promising.
Seems best place to start is to ask around for this tactile fellow.
I mean, flowers are not shoes.
Flowers
Yes,
are
but,
not
ne-
shoes.
but
Except-
florists need shoes.
Also, just to be clear, at that party yesterday, I'm almost certain I saw some people wearing flowers for shoes.
Probably. I don't know. I wasn't at the party the whole time. I don't know if you saw.
Yeah,
No.
where'd you go? You vanished for a while.
Oh, you know.
No, I don't.
fun.
That's why I asked.
Now he gets bashful about it.
So what's next?
I got laid, all right?
How was it?
It was good.
That's
Never
nice.
slept with an elf before. Kind of interesting. Very smooth.
Okay,
On that note,
let's go check out these flowers.
So looking at the flowers around the archway,
Yes.
do you have like a nature or herbalism skill?
Yes, I have nature.
Roll nature, intelligence nature.
Oh, good. It's like I'm the best person to do this. So that would be a 21.
Try as you might, looking around the flowers of the archway, and you have Adrex lift you up so you can see the ones at the top as well. You can't identify any of these blooms or bulbs. None of these are flowers that you've seen before or are familiar with.
Sorry, I thought I was the best person for this, but apparently I'm not.
They're probably all magic.
Can I pick some flowers? I'm gonna pick a flower.
You could, but it looks like they've been placed here decoratively. They're not just naturally growing out of the hedge. It looks like somebody has curated these flowers to make this entrance look glamorous.
Well, maybe you should just knock and say hello.
maybe we should just open up the door. I'm gonna open up the door.
Okay? You forward and open up the door, and you're greeted by soft, wistful music, and you look into a room which, first of all, the walls of the room are not further hedges. Nice wooden floors with very colorful carpets and rugs covering most surfaces. The first room where you step in looks to be a lounge area. On either side, you see these great, soft sofas. And a very short, glamorously dressed woman. One of those, like, weird Southling half people. You get them all mixed up. Halflings, dwarves, they're gnomes. They're all the same to you, basically. But she comes up to you with a very friendly face. Her clothing is very colorful as well, very ornate. And probably Adrex, especially, even before the woman gets to the door to greet you and welcome you inside, this place screams brothel.
Adrex, huh?
I love your clothes.
And she comes right up to Wendy. And she welcomes you all inside. Come in out of the cold and the rain and the wet. And when you compliment her clothes,
Time out. Was it actually cold and rain and wet outside before we came in?
not particularly,
Okay.
Wendy compliments her clothes, and she takes the compliment with great delight. And then she makes a big fuss over your lovely white feathers.
Wendy preens, literally.
She seems especially interested in the fact that you are visitors from the other side. That there were rumors that several of the princess's party guests had crossed over from the other side. And that she's delighted that you've all paid a visit to her establishment. And she hasn't had any experience yet doing a group activity for your kind, but this will be a learning experience, and she's sure she can make your stay very enjoyable indeed.
Well, I like learning.
She asks Wendy what she's looking for.
We're looking for a gnome. He's about yay high.
You tell her that you're looking for a gnome,
Mm-hmm.
and she kind of titters to herself, and she responds that that's not a very usual request, but that she'll
Well,
see
you
what
know,
she can do.
we got the recommendation from the queen or the princess. I'm sorry, I wouldn't want to be rude.
When you say the queen, you see for a split second. Actually, let's find out how much you see. Roll Let me ask this: was that a mistake on Wendy's part? Was that on purpose? Or is Wendy just a
Generally,
guess?
if it's like something I'm saying out of character, I'll say so. I meant the princess, but
Okay.
it wasn't on purpose.
Okay, then just give me your passive insight. Don't make a roll.
Okay, my passive insight is 17.
Okay, it's still pretty good. You probably wouldn't have rolled a 17 anyway. When you say the queen and then correct yourself, for a split second you see this woman's facade crack, her beaming smile, and for a moment you just see it slip. Like, not enough to be unnerving, and she doesn't change her demeanor towards you, but she definitely winced when you mentioned the queen, and then you immediately corrected yourself. She asks which of you will be paying for your group. Who is the money bags, as it were?
Well, we usually make Adrex carry everything.
You guys really want to do this, huh? All right.
Well, I
Do
mean,
what? We're looking for a gnome.
She tells the four of you to relax on one of the couches for a moment. She says that someone will come along with refreshment. Does anybody want to pass off their cloak, take off their coat, kick off their boots, anything like that?
No, my cloak's extremely magical.
As she takes Adrex up to the
Well.
sofa where she was reclining when you all entered the door.
All right.
What does Adrex say
so
at this
you-
point?
Just so you know, I'm not really all that interested, but I guess my friends are. I had sex yesterday, see, so I'm pretty good as far as the sex drive goes, but I guess my friends want some too, so whatever you can do for them sounds great.
Man, he's really proud of that, huh?
Are you just going to tell every NPC the entire adventure?
He might, yeah.
I got laid.
She says that, seeing as how your group has come here special from the other side, she's especially excited because she can offer you a non-standard rate for the lot of you for a stay all evening. This will include drinks or other substances, as the case may be. McDohl. Roll me a d12. I like making players roll d12s because it's the least used die, but I
Yeah,
think it's like the nicest one. It's got a very aesthetically pleasing shape to it, feels good in the hand, nice broad faces.
Even on a D12, it's a 1.
Well, it's more likely on a D12.
She asks you if you've brought any foodstuffs from the other side.
Probably rations,
Oh.
but
Raazu has
More
trail
than that.
rations.
I mean nothing extravagant like.
No, she
We've
asks.
just cooked this meatloaf and
You say that you just maybe have some trail rations, and she asks you to see what you've brought.
yeah, I've got rations. Got my mess kit. I've got my brewer supplies. I can always make something if you've got amp material. And it's that and my water skin.
So you pull out hardtack, some salted meat, maybe some dried fruit, and she clasps her hands together as you unwrap these rations and lay them out for her. And she asks if she's not overstepping, if it might be possible to find out whether your companions are carrying similar foodstuffs.
Sure, I can do that. Adrex goes on over to his companions and says, "She's wondering if we've got any food."
Is that what she wanted in payment to help us find this guy?
I mean, are we? I mean, we can't really tarry because she doesn't really seem. Because the princess doesn't seem the patient sort.
Well, she's the only person we've found that seems to know a gnome.
Do we have
I thought
anything else? Do we have more than just rations and hardtack and?
I mean,
That's
it's
all that
pretty
I'm
close to
carrying.
rations, but I've got this smoked meat.
That you're still carrying from Pigtown?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And you guys, you're kind of emptying out your packs and unwrapping your food. You can see this small woman standing over by her couch, her hands still clasped together, craning her neck up with a big smile on her face, just like a child trying to catch a glimpse of their parents wrapping Christmas presents. So how much of this do you gather up and bring back to her?
Man, she must really like these rations. Do you think she'd like any jerked meat? Do you like jerked meat?
You calling over to her?
Uh-huh.
And she says that she will gladly accept anything that you have.
I mean, it's up to you guys. You all want to get some. I'm not going to stop you.
Birdie shakes his head no and just kind of steps aside, but he very, very specifically is not saying anything because he's tired of speaking to fairies.
What I find funny is that this party has a huge advantage in this particular situation over the Flumphscape party because they never carried rations anywhere for any reason.
It's true.
Carrying rations is giving up.
So how much of the collected rations do you take back to her?
Let me ask this: who didn't supply anything?
Birdie.
Just Birdie.
Yeah.
So everyone else did. Okay.
So I guess everybody gets one.
Everybody's one ration.
4 days worth altogether. Then
Sure. I don't know.
Red's in on this plan too? Do we have
Destil?
Destil?
You may be muted, Destil.
Yeah, I was gonna give out like 5. I have plenty of rations.
Okay. So everybody packs up some of their food, some of their... I mean, we're just talking the trail stuff, except for Wendy's smoked meat, which, let's be honest, it's been a few days. It's probably starting to turn now.
It's smoked. That's the whole point.
But nobody's got anything other than the trail rations. Packing all this up, taking it over to her. And she does. She sets to work arranging it all very carefully on a piece of cloth, which she then wraps together like a bindle, ties it to the end of a stick. And then she goes about finding out who it is the PCs would like to consort with during their stay.
Frenemies? That was the name?
Frenemies.
Tickle
Frenemies
bottles.
Tactile.
Nobody's explaining to Wendy what this place is.
When he grew up in a monastery.
Wendy, have you ever heard of a house of ill repute? The oldest profession, one might say.
Well, there was that dungeon we went into. That was pretty ill repute. Wouldn't adventuring be the oldest profession? Because, I mean, people always had to go somewhere. Is that us?
So who gives the little gnome lady instructions besides Wendy? Because Wendy's looking for Frenemies.
Well, Adrex said that he's very pointedly setting this one out. So
Okay.
I mean, Red when it comes to round to Red, he'll just say, "No, I just need instructions through your hedge maze."
When you tell her that, again, she titters a little bit to herself. And she says, now that you've found her door, what other destination could you have in mind?
Well, where can I go through here? What are my options?
And she tells you that your options are meaningless because you've already arrived. The journey is over now.
See, Frenemies is here. Right?
And at this point,
at some
you've noticed,
point, we're going to leave.
at this point, you've noticed that the bindle that she had set aside is no longer sitting there.
Uh-oh.
And Adrex, you said that at some point we're going to leave.
Yeah.
And she chuckles softly, and she says, let's see how you feel about it in the morning, darling.
Mm.
And then servants come out. All shapes, sizes, genders, colors. The manner of clothing is the only thing they have in common. This very opulent, very decorative, very vibrant and colorful, and very soft, very pleasant to the touch. And they set about unlacing your boots, taking away equipment to have the dust knocked off, be scrubbed clean. And you find these servants tousling your hair, nibbling at your ears, etc. And eventually, wine is brought out.
See, guys, I told you, if we just keep going through it, eventually it gets better.
Wendy, make an investigation check.
Whoa.
Let's not get crazy now.
1.
This all seems like a wonderful idea.
By the time a very spry-looking young elf man with wings is beginning to drag you out of the room. Have you had any wine during this proceeding?
Of course. Wendy's very curious about elf wine.
It's about this point. You spent the whole, past hour or so inquiring about Friendemis's whereabouts. It's only now that you realize, I don't think these people know Friendemis. But eventually everybody except Adrex is...
Oh, Birdie does not
But this
say
elf boy is pretty cute, though, right?
As elves go.
I mean, he's got these nice wings.
They're like butterfly wings. They're not like bird wings.
Whatever, you can probably fly with them.
So
Listen,
Adrex,
I don't like to judge.
Adrex is not going back, and Red isn't going back. Is that correct?
No. Red, like I said, Red's just interested in getting instructions through the hedge maze.
And Birdie's not going back?
Birdie's not going back because he is still terrified of fairies.
I mean, some of these creatures aren't fairies. I mean...
It doesn't matter.
She even offers, if you prefer, say, a hedgehog,
No.
she can make that happen.
No.
What about Raazu?
Oh, a hedgehog could find its way through the hedge maze!
Raazu considers herself on duty and as such does not partake.
You're all cowards.
Yes, I am. Thank you for noticing.
Another advantage this party has over the Flumpskip's party is that no one wants sex, apparently.
At this point, Keelan will be tied up down in the hedge dungeon.
Yeah.
Does everybody drink to satisfaction, or do you just drink politely?
I was just gonna have water for my skin.
Okay.
Aside from being in the presence of the princess, I'm still on the don't eat anything from here.
Yeah,
Check.
Adrex's worry sense went off a little bit, so he's going to politely refuse the wine.
Okay. And I mean, they don't pressure you in doing anything. You don't feel you're like a charm effect taking hold. I'm not going to make you roll against it, although that'd be funny. Next question is, are you all waiting for Windy to be finished and come back?
No. End of campaign for Wendy.
That's it?
Wendy learns a lot of new things.
Windy, the butterfly elf boy.
Yeah. The butter boy, we'll call him.
Before Windy leaves, Birdie, make me an intelligence arcana check, but make it a disadvantage.
Okay.
This next scene might play out differently if information is put down on the table, but
Not bad.
So 10 plus 6, so 16.
you have this minor illusion cantrip and you've used it a few times, but you're not really skilled with it. You haven't really delved into what it takes to actually create magical effects yourself, even though you're capable of it. But you realize partway through, just before the winged elf boy starts to take Windy away, you realize that these creatures aren't what they seem. She's heard what you wanted, and they've used some kind of illusion magic to make them look like other things.
Birdie jumps up and yells and points and says, "That's not a butterfly."
Windy, does
Yeah,
this deter
clearly
you at
not.
all?
What is it?
Do I like know, or do I see through it, or is it just
No,
I'm
you
aware
don't
that
know
it's a-
anything, but you highly suspect.
Like, I'm pretty sure that they're using some kind of glamour on us illusion.
Yeah, they're fairies.
So Windy is not deterred?
No.
Then Butterfly Boy takes Windy to heaven, but doesn't know anything about Friendemus. As she returns, her feathers ruffled sometime later.
How was the cobbler?
It was delicious.
Did they find your way through your hedge?
No,
Wow.
I'm done.
And they're all very sad to see you go. The little woman especially.
Before we go, Birdie stops and asks the little woman, like, "What did you want the food for?"
Payment for services rendered, although only one of you decided to partake.
What are you going to use the food for?
She says that she's going to eat it. What else would you do with it?
Okay,
I
that's
can
a fair
tell you a
point.
few things.
Winnie's seen some things now. She's no longer the same person.
And what's next for the group?
Suppose we depart.
That was only a little bit of a setback. Keep going forward.
So are we still looking for, like, the shiniest, most fancy door? Like, all I'm saying, you guys, is if we run into another brothel, maybe we should change up our...
All I'm saying is, I think my plan has been working out pretty well so far.
Listen, it's your fault we're in this mess anyway. I think you should get, like, -1 votes.
How would that work? Is everything he votes for that something we don't do?
Is this another walk and talk, or are you guys having this conversation?
Yes, this is
Okay.
another walk and talk.
Yeah.
Are there any passersby as this as we move along?
What's the is the ground like beaten dirt or cobblestone or what?
The ground is very heavily packed dirt. The areas where you're walking, and you've made some twists and turns by now. The hedge maze varies from 20 to 30 feet wide, and you've been sticking to the paths that look to be the most trodden. As far as passerbys, you haven't seen any yet. But now and again, you do hear noises, oftentimes on the other side of the hedge from you. But then, Raazu. Make me a dexterity saving throw at disadvantage.
See, that didn't happen to me inside that room.
That is an 11.
An 11. 1 point of bludgeoning damage. As a stone comes flying out of nowhere and just cracks you upside the head. Ricochets off your horn. And you hear a shout from above in the Sylvan tongue. Shout out, "Them's the one, boys! Them's the one that likes to throw rocks!" When you look up, you see a small group, well, relatively large group actually, 8 or 9 or more, sprites, all holding rocks with great difficulty, and they all rear back to shower them down on you. Let's get a dex save from everybody. Except, well, yeah, Raazu can make me another one. Looking for a 15.
Pass.
Birdie
I'm
failed.
just gonna catch mine and throw it back at them.
Birdie failed.
Yeah.
Adrex failed.
Red
Yeah.
fails.
Red failed.
Just by one.
How did
Raazu
Wendy's?
A save? Yeah, I
Yes.
got a 15.
A 15? Okay. Birdie. Oh, Birdie passed, right?
No, Birdie failed.
Birdie failed. It's a dex save.
I rolled a 3, okay?
Okay, you're the worst rogue. 4 points, Birdie. 3 points for Adrex. 3 points for Red. And after they shower down these rocks, and they're yelling down jeers and insults at you as they do, they're flitting a good 30, 40 feet above you, and you see them retreat towards the top of the hedge, and for a moment you think they're leaving, but then you realize they're just retrieving more rocks.
Adrex plays dead.
Drop to the ground and play dead.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh my god, they killed Adrex!
You bastards.
Adrex, roll a charisma performance check. What about the rest of you?
Can I aid in that?
Just get on
Get
the
all
knees and
get all
start.
dramatic.
Yeah.
That is a 13.
A 13. Okay, you drop to the ground and lay there motionless. What does everybody else do?
I'm gonna catch the next rock and throw it back at them.
Okay.
Is there
Picking
any
up
source
rocks.
of cover?
There's no source of cover. I mean, you guys are standing in this 20-foot wide path with 100-foot tall hedges on either side. There's, oh, well, I mean, yeah, you can grab like jump behind the Hobgoblin. Probably would provide some cover.
Birdie's normal cover is laying on the ground playing dead, so
They killed Birdie too.
no, Birdie's picking up rocks. He's gonna start throwing them back.
So, Birdie,
waiting to
you're
do
picking
this.
up the rocks and you're going to throw them
I mean,
back
they
to
were
the
right. We
Hobgoblin?
do like to throw rocks.
I'll show them how to throw rocks.
What's Red's strategy?
Dodge doesn't do anything for dex saves, right?
Nope.
Well, I don't want to start shooting them.
Okay.
So I think Red will just call out, come on, we don't have to do this. In Sylvan.
Okay. Those of you throwing rocks, go ahead and make it to hit roll.
Well, here's the thing. I have to wait till they throw a rock at me first, because I'm better at throwing rocks when they're directed at me.
So
Not in this case, because it's a save, not it's a hit roll on their behalf.
Ah,
14.
A 14? Okay. And what did Raazu get?
oh, I crit.
Oh, Wendy's throwing a rock?
Yeah.
Okay. And is Raazu throwing a rock?
Yeah.
Alright. Adrex.
Yes, sir.
That's 25 to hit.
Adrex, take 1 point of bludgeoning damage.
Ah!
The rest of you can make a dexterity saving throw.
I am the worst
I
rogue.
made it again.
Raazu failed.
Raazu failed. Birdie, what? You failed again?
Rolled a 2.
How'd Red do?
Destil.
Destil is muted.
Birdie, 3 points of bludgeoning damage.
I'm gonna die from being pelted to death by rocks.
Did
In your
Raazu,
defense, it's gonna be
did
really
Raazu save?
funny.
Raazu failed.
Raazu failed. 3 points of bludgeoning damage, and as soon as Destil comes back, we'll find out if he passes or not. The two of you that wing rocks, or three of you wing rocks, one of the rocks goes wide. Windy and Raazu, your rocks crash into these sprites. And I mean, you just knock them silly. And they both spiral to the ground in front of you, badly injured. When they see the other ones have been injured, the sprites still in the sky scatter over the tops of the hedge. So right in your midst, actually, these two sprites just land in the ground. Not sure if they're dead or not. They might be pulling an Adrex.
Raazu reaches down, grabs the one between the wing joints, picks it up.
And, I mean, you stoop down to pick it up, and, I mean, this thing, you see its arm laying unnaturally. You're pretty sure you've broken some of its bones. But when you reach down to touch it, I mean, his head snaps up, and very badly bloodied, and he's terror in his eyes as you're reaching forward. He tries to scramble backwards away from you, which only exacerbates the situation.
Birdie pipes up. You should heal him. You should do something. I feel bad
Why?
now.
They threw rocks at us. Raazu. See, there's two of them.
Two of them. The other one nobody's inspected yet. The other one's laying there motionless.
The one that I reached for. If I can get a hand on him, then I will apply a poultice and give him 1 hit point.
Birdie goes over to investigate the other sprite.
You,
I'll aid in that.
I mean, and you can tell this other one's this one's dead. It was a critical hit, knocked him out of the sky. This rock pulverized its face, and it fell to the ground. It shattered its wings. There's no saving him. Raazu, you heal the other one partially, correct?
Yeah.
And it's still looking at you, terrified. Do you speak Sylvan?
Nope.
Then you can't tell it's pleading for its life.
So
But-
Red's
I'll tell
gonna
you that.
tell-
Oh, do we have Red back?
Yeah, my internet dropped there for a second, I think.
I need you to make me another deck save.
That's better. 22.
All right, you're fine.
From where I'm standing, I just gave it back to him.
I'll translate that and tell it's the sprite.
The way I see it, it owes me a favor now.
You tell the sprite that it owes you a favor?
If Red will translate.
Yeah, I'm just translating at this point. I'm not interjecting anything or...
And the sprite's looking terrified back and forth between the two of you, but you also see just surprise and maybe a little reverence on its face as you've used... I mean, you're using your Paladin feature, correct?
Yeah.
To heal him? Okay. And he responds, of course, a favor. Yes, of course.
Looking for.
We could use a guide through this maze, and I'm saying that in common to Raazu.
That would be helpful, and if he knows where the cobbler is, that would be even better.
And I'll translate what Raazu says to the sprite.
We're looking for a guide.
He tells you that he knows many, many cobblers. He can take you to many excellent shops.
We're looking for one in specific. We're looking for a fellow by the name of
Friendimus Tech Tallow.
yeah, that.
And he nods quickly. Friendimus, yes, of course. Friendimus' shop. It's near to here. I could take you. That would and that would be a favor I do for you.
Can I make an insight on that to figure out if he's lying?
Yeah, go ahead.
That would be a 13.
Difficult to tell whether he's lying or not. Right now, it definitely seems like he will say absolutely anything he has to keep Raazu from crushing him to death. Right now, this hobgoblin is looming over him menacingly, telling him about, okay, first of all, you deserved that, and it just got worse from there. So it's possible that he knows exactly where Friendimus is and wants to do a favor for Raazu. It's also possible he's just trying to get himself out of this horrible situation. Adrex, still playing dead?
Yep.
Okay.
Birdie walks over and just pokes Adrex in the ribs.
The sprite looks up at Raazu, and he reaches back and kind of winces as he touches one of his wings. He says, "But the fall has injured me greatly. I would need my wings mended in order to bring you to Friendemis's shop. It's near to here. I can take you, but I need my wing mended first. I fear that my legs are... My stride is not as long as yours, and I would merely but slow you down.
Birdie pipes up. Don't worry, we've got somebody that can carry you. And he kicks Adrex again.
Ah! What are you doing?
Oh my god, Adrex was alive the whole time.
Ah! Ah! Adrex gets up.
So the sprite is asking Raazu for further healing before he takes you.
Anybody want to throw a medicine check and see how much I'd need to?
Let's see. I've got a +3.
Medicine, got it. I'm on it.
This wouldn't be a medicine check. We can call this a wisdom nature check, but you'd be making it a disadvantage because it's a fey creature.
I've got a 9. Anybody got me beat?
I've got a 4.
Okay, so that's 18 plus 9, so it's 27.
No.
I've got a feeling for how this is going to go, but I feel bad for killing the other one, so I'm just going to let this one go.
Do you really? Do you feel bad at all?
I mean, it would have killed Birdie eventually.
Eventually. Rolling them 2s. Anyway, but I rolled a 27.
Okay, so you're going to try to find out.
Yeah.
You would be shocked to learn this thing had more than... 2 or 3 hit points total. It's just a little flying sprite.
Alright.
1 point brought it back from the brink of death, but you can see plainly his wing actually is broken from the fall.
Alright, then I will apply another 4 points of poultice healing.
Okay. And you mend the thing's wings, and do you do anything to keep it from immediately flying away?
I will keep a hold of it as I'm still doing this.
Okay.
And before I release it, I'll say, "All right, you'll keep your end of your word, right?"
And he nods. He says, "Yes, a favor. I will do you a favor."
All right. Where's Tactelo's establishment? Release him.
Does anybody else do anything to keep this sprite from immediately flying away after Raazu releases him?
No, like I said, I feel like I know where this is going.
Because it's pretty clear to everybody this guy's immediately going to fly away as soon as Raazu lets him go.
Yeah. And
That's
we're
fine.
pretty sure he has no idea where this cobbler is, right? So, yeah.
I can't really tell.
He very well might. So, Raazu releases him, and he says that he absolutely will do them a favor, and he starts flying forward in the maze. And after he gets maybe 15, 20 feet away from you, which is a fair distance for a little sprite, he turns around and says, "How's this for a favor? Next time I'll cover the rock in mule dung!" And then he flies upwards towards the top of the hedge.
That's a bad favor.
I thought Birdie pipes up. I thought fairies were supposed to keep their word.
Raazu hurks a javelin at him.
Whoa!
All right.
Excessive.
Make
Can
a-
I do anything to stop that, like, physically?
You can reach over and grab Rossi's arm and let the fairy go.
Roll initiative.
All right.
Roll
All right.
initiative, Red.
If this is going like this, I'll roll initiative too.
No, this is myself. Oh, I'm on a 20.
I am less than a 20.
All right then, I'm gonna roll the hit then, if that's okay.
Yeah, roll a hit.
Gonna go get a drink.
That is a.
Remember that it's further away than your javelin distance.
Yeah, so I'll roll at a disadvantage then.
Not yet. It's only, like I said, it's only about 15 feet away.
Oh,
Maybe
that
20
was an 11 on die, so that's a 16 to hit. Yeah. Or, I'm sorry, a 17 to hit.
I'm sorry, 17?
Yeah.
Pretty sure that'll hit. Let me... Yeah, go ahead and roll damage on that.
Please to enjoy 5 points of damage. Exactly what I gave him.
And you hurl this javelin as this sprite turns around, starts talking some dumb shit about mule dung. You huck a javelin at him, and it hits. Direct hit. Knocks him once again out of the air. And, I mean, this time, there's no saving him. This time, you've impaled this poor bastard. Your javelin clatters to the ground in front of you. The good news is nobody is turning around and hurling jeers and insults in Sylvan anymore.
Was that really necessary?
You didn't even know what he was saying.
Birdie raises his
Raazu.
hand. Birdie raises his hand. I think it was necessary.
Raazu steps forward to reclaim her javelin.
Birdie's adding another race of things that he doesn't like to his list. He doesn't like gnomes. He doesn't like orcs. He doesn't like any kind of fairies or fey creatures.
What's next?
He was saying he thought you were the prettiest.
Have we come to another arch where we can choose the most fabulous yet?
What is your strategy for when you get to, say, a fork in the maze, or if you win an intersection where you have to make a choice and none of them look very fabulous?
I mean, we could just go left. Seems fair, right?
Go left?
Flip a coin. We could flip a coin. That seems very fey-like. Just leave it up to blind chance.
No, that seems fair. Sure, why not?
Yeah, I'll flip a coin.
Alright, so then we go left.
Okay.
Do you actually have a coin?
I have a number of die that have an equal amount of even and odd sides.
Yeah, and that's what I did. I rolled a d10.
I think Adrex has all my coins.
That's no fun. You should spawn a quarter in.
Don't bother actually rolling. Like I said, we're not going to be tracking your movements with that kind of detail. I just wanted to know what your strategy was. So when you come to an intersection, you've been flipping a coin to decide left or right, waiting for Windy to point out an archway that looks particularly fabulous. As you're traveling, you do notice a variety of other doorways, not just openings to other parts of the maze, but doors that lead into, I guess, what passes for buildings here. And not all of them are your size. You see many such little doors way down at your foot level for tiny-sized creatures. You move this way.
The sprites we just murdered.
So I would like to point out that if Birdie sees a particularly shiny door, he will pipe up and say, "Let's try that one." Like, not just like what we're not just going with Wendy's aesthetic here. Like, if you see something shiny, let me know.
Nothing shiny. I mean, nothing with a literal metallic glint. All forms of beauty in this place would be very natural. They would be It would be the foliage, especially polished wood, or the added aesthetic of music that you hear wafting across the gardens, and which you do after you've made a couple turns, having a discussion about whether or not it was really necessary to javelin that poor sprite out of the air, who didn't do anything wrong, by the way. You do.
He threw a rock at me.
You do
I mean,
hear
that's
these.
true. He did throw a rock at him.
Sorry, my temper got the best of me.
I don't think the rock was exactly a mortal danger to your life, is all
Listen.
I'm saying.
I don't know what he had called out at me, but it didn't sound friendly.
He said you were the prettiest.
Well,
I don't think that's
oops.
true.
Well, oops, Raazu says very flatly.
Birdie pats Raazu on the back of the leg and says, "I think you did a good thing."
And the music gets louder as you guys make a couple more turns. It sounds like somebody's playing a flute several turns ahead of you.
I suppose we should go and find out.
Try not to throw a javelin at them this time.
To the flute playing.
The source of the flute turns out to be a bizarre-looking man. Tall, thin, and slender, and wearing motley. He has jingle bells hanging from his hat. The only skin you can see is his face, which is painted white. He's wearing a heavy a heavy red and black checked coat. And he is indeed playing a flute, dancing a merry jig in the middle of a round of would look to be celebrating mice and rodents, except they're wearing little clothes and standing on their hind legs, clapping and dancing along with the music.
How merry are the rodents?
Like on the standard scale of merriness.
Oh, like on 1 to Santa.
I mean, you would put the impromptu flute playing. It'd have to be like a 7.3 at least.
That's pretty decent.
And as you turn the corner of the hedge and you see this scene, this flute playing man looks up at you and locks eyes with each of you. Doesn't break his song though.
Wendy's unconsciously clapping along.
Adrex, you're still playing dead?
No, I'll tell you what Adrex is going to do.
Okay.
He's
Carrying
gonna pull out his horn and start playing it along with him.
Heck yeah.
Don't you have the horn that doesn't make sound?
No?
The silent. Oh no, that's
No,
Red's.
that's the thread.
What
No,
kind of
he's
what kind of horn does Adrex have?
He has that
It's
war
just a
horn he
horn.
stole from Orc, didn't
No,
he?
it's not. He gets it with when he gets a.
Yeah, I'm the one with the really fancy war horn.
Okay.
Yeah, he got it when he gets when he levels up. He got an artist proficiency, and so he took the instrument horn.
Okay, go ahead and make that charisma performance check.
This will be
This
hilarious.
is gonna be terrible.
Oh, he's really good. I believe in you, Adrex.
You are proficient in it.
Yes! I
The
believe
sound
in
of
you,
this
Adrex.
horn.
Nope.
Wait, you're blipping this? Okay.
I'm blipping this.
That was the best possible result. Why would you?
So
Okay,
the
now-
sound of this horn bellows forth, and immediately the festivities cease. And the small rodents scatter to the sides of the hedges, entering their little doors. And you hear the a completely adorable sound of them all clapping shut up and down the row. The flute-playing man stops playing and regards Adrex. How long do you play for?
He plays for 1 minute and 8 seconds because I've linked what he just played in the Twitch chat.
Oh, God. I mean, do you stop playing when this happens, or do you press on, soldier?
I clicked on the YouTube link.
Oh, I didn't have the Twitch.
Yeah, he stops and looks embarrassed once all of the mice scatter.
I mean, you look embarrassed, but the flute-playing man, he tucks his flute up under one of his arms, and he looks at Adrex, and then he claps. And he gives a little bow towards you.
Adrex rubs the back of his head, still a little embarrassed.
Then the man,
I was supposed to go better.
Every artist can find an audience, I guess.
he puts his finger up to his lips, and he looks from side to side, using very exaggerated motions, like making a big show of looking around like he's going to tell you a secret. And then he holds out his hand and he beckons you forward, and he holds the side of his, one of the sides of his heavy coat.
Sure, this sounds like a good idea.
Mm-hmm.
You step forward.
Yep.
So he's holding his heavy coat with one hand, and he reaches around with the other and puts it around your shoulder, pats you on the back. And then he stands in front of you in such a way that the vision from the rest of you is blocked by Adrex's form, and he slowly opens up his coat.
Oh God.
Nice.
Adults. Yo, what are you doing here?
Adrex,
I'm not having fun, Brick.
I'm not having fun. Is that our new meme? That can't be our new meme. Adrex, take 11 points of piercing damage.
Jesus.
Holy shit!
Those of you standing there, you watch as this bluishly colored spear bursts through the back of straight through the back of Adrex's armor, throwing forth a spat of blood. Adrex, you don't see anything out of the ordinary. Just the shock of this hit almost knocks you off your feet. And this man immediately releases you and begins darting down the path away from you on all fours, like a big cat.
Okay, to be clear, because he just opened up his coat, was that a blue spear or a blue spear?
Wow.
I'm very uncomfortable right now.
Nodal, I'm not having fun. The spear actually doesn't persist. After a moment or two, it vanishes. And I mean, Adrex drops down to his knee with the wind knocked out of him. And yeah, this motley-wearing creature is darting away from you on all fours.
30 feet of movement per round, can't keep up with him.
Are you trying to
I
chase
can
him
probably
down?
catch up with him.
Raazu's
Did
gonna
he
try.
leave this cloak behind, or did he take it with him, or whatever it was? That was
He
dripping
didn't.
on
He didn't leave anything behind. You were focused on looking at what was inside his coat, and as soon as he opened up, you took that hit.
Okay.
And I mean, you've got a nice hole in your chest where it went in, and the spear came out the back.
Could Birdie get a shot off with his bow?
Go ahead and let's roll initiative here and figure out what you all are doing to this poor guy, who again did nothing wrong.
What are you talking about?
He just violated our friend Adrex.
Did nothing wrong. Objection.
This is just how the Fae say hi.
They're very friendly people.
Did anyone beat his 20?
No, I got an 18.
I mean, he's just dashing away from you. It looks like this point next round, if nobody catches up, he'll be able to turn a corner in the hedge. Birdie, what are you doing?
I'm gonna shoot an arrow at him.
You're going to fire at him? Okay, roll
Yeah.
it.
Oh, question: Does this count as my sunlight? Or like
It's not sunlight, it's twilight, so you're fine.
okay. So I rolled a +7, 21.
God, that's pretty dick of me because I took away his dark vision but didn't take away his sunlight sensitivity.
Yeah, that's kind of a dick.
A 21?
Yeah.
Hey, go ahead and roll damage.
On the other hand, it's also extremely funny.
I appreciate it. I want you to know that. So that's a 7.
A 7? Okay.
Yeah.
And you see this arrow catch this creature in the rump. And he kind of skitters for a bit. But he doesn't show any signs of slowing down. Red, what you doing?
Shot him.
If I move and then cunning action dash towards him, can I grab him?
Yeah, you could do that. Try to grapple him.
Yep.
Yeah, you catch up with him just like that.
Is that always strength?
Yeah,
Yes.
that's athletics.
So that would be a 13.
Okay. And it's a lot easier than you're expecting because you, like, are you like dive bombing him, or are you just trying to grab him by the scruff of the neck? Like, describe how you're
Grab
doing
him by
this.
the wrist.
Reach forward and grab him by the wrist. Well, you have to reach
Yeah.
down because he's escaping on all fours.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, well, then the ankle.
Grab him by the back ankle. Okay. And when you do, you reach down, you're going to grab this guy around the ankle, but there's nothing in his pants. It's just cloth. And your hand just crimples around it. And it's really easy to tug him backwards. And so right now you're just holding on to his pant leg, which is empty, and just connecting down into his little jaunty, curly-toed shoe. But you
And
stop his
I'll
movement.
say in Sylvan, hold up a moment. We don't have any need to hurt you yet.
I've just shot him in the butt with an arrow.
Hurt him more.
And yeah, looking at this, where this arrow pierced this creature, I mean, it's not bleeding at all. There's no blood issuing from the wound. Adrex, what's your deal?
So, Red is basically holding whatever this creature is, right?
Yeah, Red is pretty far up the path in front of you. He caught up with the creature and grabbed
And
hold
he's
of it.
saying we have no need to hurt you further.
If you don't speak
Yeah,
Sylvan, you
Adrex-
don't know what he's saying.
Okay, don't know what he's saying. Well, Regardless, Adrex is going to hurl, using all of his strength, hurl an axe at this creature.
Okay, you'll be rolling at disadvantage at this range.
Yep.
That's worked so
Adrex
far.
definitely is. Nope.
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 Red, you grab onto this creature. You tell him, listen, we don't have any reason to hurt you yet. And just then, Adrex's axe just cleaves in the ground right next to where you're stooped over this thing.
Which is followed up with Adrex letting out a slew of curse words.
Windy, you just learned a
Very
whole lot
angrily.
of new curse words in Draconic.
Nice. Wendy repeats them constantly.
Are you sure you're not a Kenku?
You take that back.
Incredibly offensive.
That's racist.
So what are you doing?
Me?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm gonna run over next to Red.
So you're going to use your full action to catch up with them?
Yeah.
Okay. And what about Raazu?
Rasu's gonna run. Obviously not as fast as them, but to catch up with the two of them.
Okay. Red, go ahead and make a strength athletics check. You have to roll particularly high, but I'm using my pink and green sherbet die.
Bro, did you see I actually bought dye?
You what?
I saw
I
that.
bought dye for the first time.
Nice.
Bought some
Nice.
nice Aldo dye.
I'm gonna get
Dyes.
Did Destil drop again? Do you know?
No, sorry. What did you say?
I
Did
need a
miss
strength
something?
athletics check to see if you can get,
Oh, yeah.
get out of your grapple.
That would be a 15.
Okay. You see this thing's body start to make weird, unnatural motions. And you realize it's trying to wriggle free from your grasp. And instinctively, you reach forward with your other hand and try to grab him around the torso. And this is when you feel something in the clothes. You realize the base of this thing's neck, down where it goes into this... what's the frilly neck decoration thing called in, like...
Cravat.
Is it a cravat?
No, a cravat is like that thing. It's like a scarf.
A cravat is like a strawberry filled
like a
tart, isn't it?
ruff, like a neck
A
ruffle.
ruffle. That's what I'm looking for, like a neck ruffle. You see where this thing's head goes down into this neck ruffle. Must be the largest part of its body, and down in the actual torso, what you're grabbing onto now is just the body of a snake, of some kind of slithering serpent. And you very easily muscle your arm around it, get it under the crook of your arm, and hold it down to the floor, and it does not manage to get free. Birdie.
Oh boy. Birdie just jogs forward to catch up with everybody else.
And you get up to this comical-looking scene.
It's a snake charmer.
Does Birdie see what it is? Does he realize what the creature is?
No, you just got there.
Okay.
All right, Red. What do you do to this poor thing?
I mean, just gonna
We could
hold him for now.
Let's set it on fire.
Adrex?
Adrex still needs another few moments writhing on the ground from
This
the
is-
sudden pain before he goes and joins everyone else.
What's Adrex's passive perception?
Adrex's passive perception is not very good. It is 11.
11?
Right, that's not
Adrex.
very good.
Yeah.
You hear just the barest hint of a creaking sound behind you.
What was that?
Turning around to look,
Turns
you
it.
see one of these little mice wearing wearing a house dress with an apron tied around her waist, peeking out the door nervously to watch the spectacle. And immediately when she sees you turn your head, you hear her squeak and dive back and slam the door. Windy, you doing anything with this guy?
Nah.
And Raazu.
I figure this is Red's wheelhouse right here.
Okay.
Yeah, same.
So, The next thing to happen.
Move to cut off the path of escape. Basically, move around to the front.
Okay.
Of where he was from.
So my horrible snake creature gets an attack of opportunity on Raazu. No, he's not doing that. Next thing that happens is extremely unnerving because his head turns 180 degrees round
Ah,
and is cranes up looking backwards and splays out its arms, which are now bent the wrong direction from your point of view, but lifts his arms up off the ground and holds his hands up so the backs of his hands, his fingers are splayed out. And then he holds just one finger up, indicating he wants you to hold on for a minute. Is anybody
fair
else?
enough.
Is anybody going to make any kind of violent action, or should we come off the initiative order for the next?
let's hold on for a minute. I'm curious as to where this is going.
Yeah.
Adrex, you're still sitting there composing yourself?
Yeah.
Okay, not going to go back to playing dead?
He kind of wants to be friends with the mouse folk now, but he's not doing anything.
The thing reaches down into its pant leg. On the opposite leg that Red is clasping onto. And it pulls out a small piece of rolled parchment. And its fingers very gingerly undo the twine, keeping it rolled up.